Okay.
Obviously, you guys make a late rally there in the fourth, and obviously the Bubba Carrington game winner. Could you just kind of talk about just that?
Yeah, it's a shame, again, because we did so many really good things in front of our fans. The last 4 minutes were a lot of fun to be able to crawl back, get the lead, and then get the 4-point lead. And then, it was three things that, had to go three their way and three not our way, and all three things happened, unfortunately. But there was obviously some good things, defensively down the stretch, and then yes, it was good to see Jaime, play free in the mind, play aggressive. He definitely had the downhill, part of it, and we haven't forgotten, that's what he can do. It's a matter of just having clarity in his head and his role, and then to be able to make reads off the dribble. Against the really good teams, it won't necessarily look like that. There's going to be rotating defenders, and making the right play out of that. But it was great to see him, make the plays in the moment of truth. He had some real clutch plays too when we were playing, from behind to, eventually take the lead. He has that savviness. He's got that, that want and the will. So that was cool.
Josh and Kashad obviously got some chance to play extended minutes. What did you think about what they did today? Yeah,
Josh had some big buckets going down the stretch too. I was reminding the guys, everybody felt that, Jaime obviously was on a roll, but I wanted everybody to still be a live option. It can't just be 1-on-5 when, everybody knows that you're overdoing it trying to get Jaime the ball. And I thought Jaime did a good job getting off the ball at the appropriate time, those last 4 or 5 minutes. And Josh was a recipient, of those a couple times, and he was able to get some three and get some plays in the paint that were important. And KJ, I thought the best thing that he did was when we started, defending and switching. And I think that's one of his strengths, is to be able to play a big. And then if you need to switch, and if you have a switchable lineup out there, he's fully comfortable, playing on the perimeter.
Erik, this is actually the first 2-day break you will have since the All-Star break. What's it going to be like the next 2 days to get into the lab, to be single-minded on a single focus, and will that help you maybe solve some of the riddle that the Bulls have been for you this season?
It'll be, valuable. I'm sure both teams, feel that way. You also want to be mindful that you don't overclutter, the mind. We're at our best when we have great clarity. And we know what our game is at this point. We know what their game is. We've played them 3 times in the last 2 months. So we will do a little bit more prep, than a normal regular season game if you just have a shoot-around to prepare for it. But I don't want over-saturation of information, to slow us down. But the extra day, we'll certainly, try to take advantage of it.
And when you talk about the Bulls, you talk about their speed game, the way they change the roster, the way they're playing. Is that something you prepare for, or is that something you just want and have to need to want to do to stop their speed and get back?
Both. I think it was good, the last 2 games, New Orleans and even tonight, just teams that push it really fast. It's a synapse, that we have to have on Wednesday night to get onto the next possession and have that mental toughness to do that for 48 minutes, every single possession, whether it's a make or a miss. We've had several possessions in the Chicago series where we've gotten shots in the paint, even several made shots that they've run out and scored within 4 seconds. In possession games, that can be the difference. And I felt like in the last game, they're 27 to 28 in transition to our 15. That was the game. A lot of other things that we can look at, but that separator, if they can get 12 to 15 extra relief points, that's tough to overcome. Particularly in a one-game setting. So we have a lot of those habits, but they do it probably more intently than most. Thanks, Coach. All right, thank you.
I mean, I'm sure bittersweet because of the final result, but How good did it feel to be Jaime Jaquez Jr. again for an afternoon?
It felt well, felt good. Just happy to be out there playing. We had a great group of guys out there competing, trying to win the game. Didn't go our way at the end, but just happy to be back out and playing.
Jaime, just obviously it's the first time we've dealt with this since entering the league, but what have the last few weeks been like for you as you kind of stay prepared for a moment like this?
Just continue to stay ready. Try to be a great teammate. Keep encouraging the guys that are in the rotation, and let them know my input, what I'm seeing, from the bench, and still trying to be involved, engaged, and on the court, just keep working on my game.
It's going to be a rough path, obviously, to get to the playoffs. You have to win 2 road games, but is that sort of maybe a fun opportunity for you guys to kind of overcome that, maybe the doubters and people like that?
Yeah, no, we embrace this challenge. That's something that the Miami Heat have always done. We always like having a chip on our shoulder, and this year is no different.